Thanks for joining us here at River of Life about this topic of parents and children finding rules and consequences that work for them. That can be really challenging sometimes.
Even for myself, who a former teacher, is very challenging finding rules that actually work in a classroom, and the same thing happens in a family also.
I think there are some foundations, though, about what are ingredients of a healthy rule. And sometimes when we have the parents come in with their lists of their rules, I mean, it's interesting what we see. And there's some general things that we here at River of Life like to really work on with people. One thing that comes to mind is sometimes I have parents that'll come in and they'll phrase things in a very negative way. You know, don't hit your brother or sister. Don't jump on the couch. Don't run throughout the house. You're going to knock something over. And I'll ask that child, okay, so what do you do with your hands and feet instead of running or kicking or screaming or whatever? And I'm like, I don't know. What's that?
Well, I think you hit on a good thing. I think number one, when you come up with rules for your children, I believe they should be stated in a positive manner. So instead of saying, don't hit your brother or don't run through the house, perhaps a better rule might be keep your hands safe and your feet safe, or something like that, so it's stated not in the negative way.
Yeah, we want to tell the children what they should be doing.
Correct.
And it's also supported by the role modeling of the parent.
Absolutely.
You know, it always amazes me how many of these parents that the kids will come in and say, Mom and Dad told me don't cuss and use bad language, and then they're telling me, Mom and Dad said such and such. You know? Right.
And I really think that modeling for parents is a necessity. We come across many times parents who want their kids to behave in a certain way, but find it a terrible struggle, for instance, for smoking, or as you mentioned, cursing. For them to control themselves in a manner in which they want their children to behave, and then they don't model that. And we're really sending a mixed message to our kids by doing that.
So phrasing things positively, supported by the modeling of the parents. Another one, I think, is phrasing it as a statement. Sometimes parents, maybe they feel insecure, or maybe they didn't see it role modeled in their family of origin, but they'll phrase it trying to be real nice as a question, like, Johnny, would you please take the trash out? You know, don't you want to take the trash out? And sometimes I have to tell the parents, you know, which child or which adult would say, oh, gee, that was what I was thinking of. I couldn't wait to do that.
Well, and you know, just for going back to the modeling, we as adults, we have certain things that we must do. You know, and as a child grows older, there are things that they must do, and we can begin some of those rules by enacting some chores around the house, such as, and it could be as simple as maybe making your bed, maybe picking up toys, which all of these things, you know, once we talk about maybe some ADHD issues later, but for the normal child, those kind of things they're very capable of doing them. Again, going back to the modeling, we as adults would need to model that for our kids by making our own bed or picking up our own clothes in the house, and even showing them how we would like them to perform, so that there is a standard that they need to meet. So when you first begin, it may be okay when they're 4 or 5 to pull the sheets over, and as long as the sheet is covering the bed, that may be okay for age 5. Age 8 or 9, it's much more appropriate that the sheets be fitted right and the spread be put across the bed appropriately, and tuck pillowcase and those kind of things. And it goes along with washing dishes and those things. As they grow older, there'll be chores and also rules where they'll be gaining responsibility, they'll be gaining trust, but we need to model those things for the kids.
And it's real important, you're talking about modeling, but I also hear you're hinting at the importance of things being developmentally appropriate. And sometimes, you know, what's developmentally appropriate even for one given child may not be the same for their brother or sister. You know, I see so many of these parents that say, well, but my older son or daughter,
when I was your age, I was doing the dishes when the time I was 4. Well, okay, you might have been doing the dishes, but at the time of when you were 4, but you may not remember when you were 4 years old, you might have left half of the casserole unwashed,
right.
where your parent went back and washed it over. So these things need to be gauged at a developmental level. We need to model them. We need to show them how to perform all the aspects of it, because maybe taking out the trash is not the only thing they need to do. Maybe they need to put the trash bag back in. So we need to model those things for the kids before we can raise that expectation.
So phrased as statements, supported by modeling of the parents, developmentally appropriate, and also sometimes I think, giving options based on their development. It's kids like options, and I tell parents, they can give options within the boundaries. So if it's, you're going to eat a vegetable tonight with your dinner, do you want the corn or you want the peas, So
like
you will have to give an option.
I like what you say about giving options. Even as adults, we like options. We normally will pick the more favorable that we like. Well, so as a parent, one of the things you can do in order to get your kids to comply, so to speak, or to follow rules, is to say, okay, this is the rule, we're going to make our bed every day. Or you can either make your bed, or and then find something less desirable, such as, or there may not be Nintendo tonight.
Right.
So given that choice, the kids would much rather make a bed and then get the Nintendo.
Sure.
Which goes on into some more other, the whole grandma theory of grandma knew a whole lot more than we did when as far as raising kids. She knew not to fight with us. She knew, you can dangle a carrot and get some things done also.
And I like the reality approach. We talk about that in depth if you choose to come for counseling about parenting issues and behavioral parenting. But that reality therapy approach, the one where it's very just direct, where the parent doesn't get into the emotions, dragged into the emotions of the child. And that can be real tough, because some kids are real good at pulling us into those loopholes about things. But it's real important, and that's a skill that we often teach parents here as well.
I've even caught myself with my own children. Here I am arguing with a 13-year-old. Why am I, as an adult, planning or falling into an argument with a 13-year-old? These are the expectations, and so here they are. If you follow them, great. If you don't follow them, then there's consequences.
Right. And consequences get into also what's developmentally appropriate, what's appropriate to that child. I love just spending sessions, and like we said, we love to individualize things to the specific client or family here, and finding out what's meaningful for that child. Like you said, the Nintendo game may be meaningful for one child, but something else may be meaningful for that other child. So.
Which, it kind of goes into, I'm amazed at the vast array of electronics that are in a bedroom these days. When I was a child, I had a little battery-operated transistor radio, and I thought that was the coolest thing. What did my mom do if I was acting up? I need the radio. Oh, it was just, that was the only thing that I had. But now we have computers, we have stereos, we have Game Boys, we have DS. So there are many options that we have as far as consequences that can grab a child's attention, so that you can get them to do what you would like them to do.
So if you're interested in learning any more specifically about your situation in terms of parenting and child rearing, and again, we're aware that there's a lot of non-traditional families out there as well. Grandparents raising grandkids, other relatives raising the kids, multi-generational family dynamics, and just different sort of situations. Feel free to contact us so we can tailor the counseling specifically to your situation. These are some general guidelines, but again, to talk with you specifically, we'd be interested in meeting with you about your specific things. If you are interested, feel free to call us at 614-353-4157. Thank you.